about aviation, and we have a air show that will be going on this afternoon. And that will, if you want to know more about the air show, go to air.show.tour and go to the Augusta Air Show, and you'll be able to pick up a lot of information on what you need to do to get here. And of course, you need to get your tickets online before coming out here. You won't be able to get tickets at the gate. They sell those online. So encourage you to get dressed and get those tickets and come on out to the Augusta Air Show. It's going to be great. I have Herbert Judon here with us here today, and Herbert is the executive director of the Augusta Regional Airport, and he played a part in helping to bring this here, him and his team. And Herbert, how did this come about?
Well, I think it was probably about a year and a half ago, and actually some of our aviation commissioners who had been here in the community for years talked about the fact that we hadn't done this in over 2 decades, and they were very fond of the times that we had done this years back. Mm-hmm. So they kind of birthed the idea with the staff, and one of our commissioners actually reached out to the event company, and we started doing a lot of research and looking at, we went and looked at some other shows, including Peachtree City, and did a lot of research, and we eventually got to this point. But yeah, it's a lot of work in the background.
Well, with this, what's some of the other things that Augusta Regional Airport does along with, we're having an air show today? What's some of the other things that they do during the course of a year? Yeah,
so we do a lot of events, and of course, events are not our core mission. Obviously, we are an airport, and the commercial service, the business aviation is our core mission, but events are also important. So one of the things that I communicate to my staff is that the airport is a community asset, and we want people to use the airport, to enjoy the airport, to do a myriad of events at the airport. Even if you don't fly, we want the community to partake and be a part of the airport, and especially young people. So throughout the year, we do several events. We did a 5K run back in March. We do pet adoptions. We do Santa fly-ins, Meet a Machine, boxing. The Augusta Boxing Club has a tournament here each year. So we do a bunch of events. We just want people to get out and enjoy and partake of the airport.
Jim, do you have questions for Herbert?
Well, I find it interesting that, as was mentioned in the previous hour, that you can run an air show and still run a commercial airport, because the air show has a lot of folks that are out in the airstrip area, but as I look at the airport, they're on a runway that probably won't be used today for commercial aircraft, but they're out there, so you have to be aware of all of their needs and so forth while still accepting the commercial aircraft, and then, of course, allowing them to depart on time. So it's remarkable that you can put all that together and everybody's safe. The aerobatic aircraft goes someplace else while the commercial aircraft is coming and going, and then as soon as they leave, back to the show. So it's a bit of a juggling act, I'm sure, for the tower today. A little busier than usual up at the tower.
Yeah, and I think what you say just goes to show all the coordination that takes place. Obviously, the event company, they have an air boss that helps coordinate a lot of the sequencing of the aircraft. The air traffic control, they've been partners in coordinating this, the airport staff. So there's a lot of different players that are involved, but the airlines and the airline station manager. So yes, it's very critical that we run, again, our core operation, that we're able to land and depart commercial aircraft and other things today. So yeah, a lot of coordination by a lot of people.
Wow.
And this is one of those airports, for those in the syndicated customer base who might think of airports as always being these monstrous things with monorails and parking lots that take forever to get from the airport out to your car or vice versa. This is one of those delightful airports to use. It is big enough to get you where you need to go with a number of cities, but it's just a peaceful place to come and go from. You can see your car from the terminal. It's not a mile away. It's nice.
Yeah, always very good experience anytime I fly out of Augusta Regional Airport.
Well, we appreciate it.
So wonderful. Hey, Herbert, one of the things that we do is we take phone calls during the show. Let's do one?
Sure.
Let's do it. We're going to a caller. And we welcome you to the C&C Auto Show. We have Ron. Ron, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, enjoying your show this morning. One thing come to mind that it's always kind of baffled me about the aviation. I guess the most critical part, other than the wings on a plane, is the wheels. At what speed are some of those, say a F-16 is touching ground? Is it 100 miles an hour, 1,000 miles an hour?
Well, I can tell you the aircraft that I worked on many years ago, I worked on the F-4 Phantom, and they had a landing speed of roughly about 180. Now, of course, no doubt these guys here know a huge amount more about all of that than I know. So anything I mention, don't say that that's a definite thing. But I do know that that aircraft that I worked on was about 180. Aircraft that I used to fly a Bonanza. And I think I had a barrier speed of like 90 knots, roughly. And so it depends on the aircraft as the landing speed that they have, that they come in at. And, of course, that all has to do with the stall speed and the other things that that they look at on landing. But I will tell you that's a very precise measurement. Now, I used to vary a little bit.
Well,
these guys here are dead on the money on it. It's like a machine as they're flying these things. I mean, it's everything. It has to be 100% precise as they're turning downwind, as they're on final, as they're landing. Everything's dead on it. So, great question.
Well, do they have a special department just for wheels and balancing? I can only imagine you can't have a unbalanced wheel on a jet that's capable of those speeds landing. Is it something that spills over into the commercial car balancing? I just can't imagine those wheels on these jets having lead weights.
Right. Well, on the aircraft, what I did when I worked on the F-4 is I would see a tire that was worn. I would order a tire, and when it came out, it was ready to roll. We didn't have to ask any questions. It was just ready to go on the aircraft.
So it was mounted already.
Yeah, it was mounted, done. So I wouldn't be able to tell you what they had did up to that point. But I do know that you're absolutely right. The tires have to withstand a huge amount of heat. The balancing has to be good, because anytime you have something spinning that fast, it has to be balanced correctly.
And it goes from not spinning to spinning
Well,
real fast. It's the reverse of a burnout every time it lands.
Yes.
I know when you ever see the pictures, I used to live close to the Atlanta airport, and sometimes we'd take a ride out there to watch them land and take off, and you would actually see the tires smoke when they hit the ground, and I'm assuming that's the friction just burning rubber from that tire being static. And then it's amazing to me that these things even hold together.
You know, we got a quick
something
minute.
like a C-130.
Ron, we got a quick minute. That's a great question that we can ask Herbert. Herbert, do they, after a period of time, have to remove a certain amount of rubber from the runway?
We do, yeah. And we usually do it about once a year or so, but it just depends on the amount of operations that you have at a particular airport, and there can be environmental issues as well, depending on the weather in a particular airport and the type of surface, whether it's a concrete or an asphalt runway. But yeah, we do have commercial companies that come out to airports and do that for us.
Clean that rubber off.
Right, and there are also systems that test the friction of the runway.
Right. Herbert, I sure do appreciate you being here with us, answering questions. Fantastic.
Thank you.
And congratulations on a great event. And Ron, we appreciate it. Appreciate the call. We're going to be taking a real quick break.
Kick
Kick
the tires and light the fires.
I love it. Hey, thank you, Ron. Okay, we'll be right back after this.